So much for making time for us, Mr. Sulu. Why do you believe a coalition with the DA would be catastrophic for all the efforts that have been made to transform the country? What are your views on that?
Because basically we are so ideologically at variance with the DA. I cannot imagine how it would be for us now, with all the problems that we have, be able to take the country forward, having to drag along people that are not, they don't have the same issues on their shoulders as we do. We have been in government for a very long time. The electorate has punished us over and over because we have not been able to deliver on the things that they need most and on the things that we have promised them. We would need at this point to very seriously take on a partner or partners that will help us deliver on the promises that we have made since God knows when, 1994. But I want to take you back some time in history of this country when we had a situation where we felt that perhaps the best way forward would be to have a government of national unity. We brought in the Democratic, the party, the National Party, and ourselves, and we formed a government. And for the first 2, 3, 4 months, it seemed like we would be able to cover the responsibilities that each one of us were committed to. But halfway through that, and I applaud the National Party for having taken this decision. The National Party sat down and said to us as a government, look, we are at such variance ideologically. We have different constituencies to deliver to. We've made promises to our constituencies, which we will not be able to deliver on. This relationship is not going to take us anywhere, and we would like to withdraw. We were shocked because at that particular time, we had not gone into the entrails of delivery and how it affects people on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
And we agreed, and they took their decision and they left. And I applaud them for that. It was an honest decision. It was the kind of decision that was driven by a conscience that they're not delivering for their people. Here we are with the national ANC, with the ANC. Possibly we will need partners, but we need partners who are ideologically linked to our own ideology. Partners who will be able to deliver on that which we have promised our people.
Yeah.
No one is further from that than the DA. Why would we go for the one party that is completely at variance with what we believe in?
Yeah.
You look at the Western Cape and tell me what it is that the Western Cape has done to change the lives of our people. Maybe the same can be said for very many other parts of the country. But specifically, the difference in delivery and the difference in the way that government has responded to our people is glaring. You drive down the road from Parliament to the airport, and you'll be able to see the shacks on one side or whatever it is. Nothing has changed for our people in the Western Cape.
What about a partnership where the DA occupies key positions in Parliament and still allows the ANC to be the executive? It doesn't compromise on the party's policies. You still have space as the ANC to do your work as the executive, but they hold you accountable in Parliament by occupying some key positions there.
What key position are we talking about?
The position of Speaker. It could be the position of chairs of different committees in Parliament.
Why do we need to be monitored? Why do we need to be monitored? The system that we have right now works very perfectly. We have our own system in which we account to our people what it is that we're doing and what it is that we're not doing. We don't need a class monitor from the DA. Why would we take one party that is so ideologically at odds with ourselves?
Because
what has the DA done to show that they're concerned about the plight of, let's just put together a few of the things that they have opposed us on, that NHI just very recently, and you can go on and on, because they have a privileged background that they can fall back on. We have years and years of underprivileged people that we have to cover for. Why would we choose a DA?
So here's the conundrum here, Mr. Sulu. The problem is, as the ANC, you don't have the majority government like you used to, where you can be in control of the executive and be in control of parliament. You've got to choose at some point what you're willing to compromise on, because the voters in this country have said 40% is what you deserve. And that's not enough for you to be control of the executive and still want to occupy all the key positions in parliament. So what are you willing to compromise on?
We're willing to compromise on many things, but we're not willing to compromise on the DA agenda. We have many black parties in parliament, and together we are able to form the necessary majority that is required by the Constitution.
Which other parties do you think would be best suitable to go into coalition with the ANC?
Well, we could take many of the other black parties that are there, because they cover a wide spectrum of people that we're responsible for. Why don't we take, say, the IFP? No. Why don't we take the newly formed
MK party?
MK? Why don't we take any of the others? Why would we go for the DA? What puzzles me is we're just so ideologically at odds with each other. It just hasn't worked. And I've given you an example where a government has not been able to work, and a decision was taken that those who are not in a position to continue with the ANC ideology have withdrawn. Why should we repeat something that we have learned something from? We have very little in common with the DA. And the DA has insidiously, over time, tried to implant their own ideas into how we relate to our people. I'll take an example of a time when the president gave a speech in parliament. It was the opening of parliament, and for 2 or 3 paragraphs, he seemed to be quoting the DA. There was an uproar. Afterwards, the DA comes out and says, "We're terribly sorry. We gave the president our constitution so that he can consider it, and we don't know how it worked out like this. Maybe there was a confusion." There was no confusion. It was deliberate. It was deliberate. They have been insidiously trying to get into the ANC and see how they can control government through the ANC. And you can see how they're putting themselves out.
Yeah.
There are many other black parties representing the majority of our people that can come together. Let's take one of the parties you've mentioned. Let's say the MK party, for instance. The only challenge with that is that it is said that the MK party's possible condition is that President Cyril Ramaphosa has to step down. And the ANC's Secretary General, Fikile Mbalula, says they will not negotiate with a party that even suggests the president of the ANC has to step down. You know, negotiations will not be done overnight. That might be the first demand from the newly formed MK party for various reasons, and that is the first response of the ANC for various reasons. Coalitions are built over time. We ourselves have built this particular democracy over time through negotiation and understanding what is in the best interest of our people. And my view is that a DA partner is not in the best interest of our people. The majority of the people to whom we still have so much to deliver is black, remains very marginalized. Why would we choose the DA as a partner? Why?
So do you think that the ANC must entertain the MK party even with the demand that it comes with, that the President Cyril Ramaphosa...
I did not bring the MK party onto the table. You did.
Yeah, and I'm asking what your thoughts are.
There are many other parties that we could bring onto the table and work out an arrangement to go forward to make sure that we are able to constitute, the kind of requirement that the Constitution puts before us. But here we are. We are faced with a DA partner. Why DA? Why the DA?
Well, the ANC hasn't taken a decision yet. I think
it hasn't. But we are talking about the possibilities, and the possibility was thrown earlier on that the DA would be a most suitable partner. And my argument is it is not the most suitable partner. We've worked with the DA for a very long time. They are definitely not on our side. They do have their own agenda. They do want to deliver to their own people, and their own people might not be our people. Our people, who are the African people, have suffered for a very long time and have been waiting for us to deliver what we promised them. They've just recently now shown us what they feel about us by reducing the percentage of the vote that we get from them. Why would we bend over backwards for somebody who does not have the same ideology as ourselves? Amongst the black parties that are there, we can actually sit down and work out which of them is most likely to be responsive to the needs of our people, and make sure that perhaps we can look into that. We don't need to take time, or we don't need to do it overnight.
So
but